Drama and controversy are huge parts of all our lives. What makes a controversy is a good old-fashioned rivalry. There is nothing more controversial than a sibling rivalry story, and this one, I promise, fulfills that and much more. An initial joint venture, a fellowship with the Nazis, a fierce rivalry, a meteoric rise, and a trademark that changed the fortunes of the company ever since. This particular tale has it all. In this video, we shall be shedding our focus Adidas, probably the most renowned and revered name in sports footwear and clothing. However competitive the athletic wear industry has become, Adidas has maintained itself in the scene, being fierce competitors to companies like New Balance and Nike. They have devised strategies in maintaining and attracting new customers to the brand when apparel companies are struggling. One standout factor that played a vital role in the brand's success is its eye-catching unique designs evident in its products. We shall be taking a trip down memory lane, digging into Adidas's origin, history, logo, and meaning. And finally, interesting Adidas facts. In fact, we have one for you right off the bat, which will shatter an age-old myth that certainly contradicts what we learned in middle school. The name Adidas was coined as a portmanteau of the first and last name of the founder of the company, Adolf Dassler. And contrary to popular belief, the name of the company is not an acronym of All Day I Dream About Sports. Let's take a step back and go to the humble beginnings of this present-day sporting giant. On the back of World War II, with Germany fresh from the humiliation of the Treaty of Versailles, a young boy who had served for the German army during the war came back home to the town of Herzogenaurach, located in the Bavaria district of Germany. Planning on starting a business, Adolf Dassler had initially planned on starting a bakery right out of his house, but eventually started a shoe factory out of his own laundry room. Finally, a successful company story not starting out of a garage. A few years later, his younger brother Rudolf Dassler joined the company and the shoe factory was christened Dassler Brothers Shoe Factory. Catchy name. Apparently, the electricity supply in their town was so unreliable that the brothers had to use pedal power from a stationary bicycle to get their machines running. At the very inception of the company itself, Adolf might have just revolutionized sporting footwear and running spikes when he replaced the heavy metal spikes put in shoes with canvas and rubber spikes. They got their big break when Adolf Dassler traveled to Berlin for the 1936 Olympics and managed to convince American athlete Jesse Owens to wear his company's shoes. The Buckeye Bullet went on to dominate the Olympics and won 4 gold medals in various events. This provided a stage for his company, and various other athletes and trainers went on to buy their shoes. Business was booming and they went on to sell more than 200,000 pairs of shoes a year before World War II. Before we move on to the rest of the story, you need to know this extremely controversial fact, one that might change a few of your minds about Adidas. Both the Dassler brothers were integral and reasonably influential members of the Nazi Party. They held high ranks in the party and were running the last shoe factory in Germany, and they produced shoes for the usage of the entire unified forces of Germany through most of the war effort. In 1943, the shoe factory was forced to shut down and their operations and facilities were anti-tank weapons. The American forces had almost destroyed the shoe factory but did not completely raze the place on the request of Adolf's wife, who managed to convince them that it was just a shoe factory. Ironically, the American forces became major buyers of the Dassler brothers' shoes after the Nazis went out of power. Throughout the Second World War, the brothers had many problems with each other, and finally, once the war had culminated, Rudolf Dassler started his own company called Ruda, which was later rebranded as Puma. In response to this, Adolf Dassler renamed his company and called it Adidas. Adi for Adolf and Das for Dassler. Both of these companies operated from the same city of Herzogenaurach, and the entire city was divided on this matter, and both of these companies have become the identity of the city entirely with the nickname, the City of Bent Nicks, referring to the fact that people who looked down to see which company shoes the other person was wearing. The rivalry within the city went so deep that the two football clubs in the city were divided too, with one of them supporting Adidas clothing and footwear, and the other club supporting Puma merchandise. Moving on to probably one of the highlights of Adidas's history, one event that has defined the company ever since, their trademark over the iconic three white stripes. This trademark was initially owned by a Finnish company called Karhu Sports. Now, a brief history about Karhu. This company was set up in the 1920s and specialized in the manufacture of discuses and javelins, which later extended to footwear. After World War II, Karhu was undergoing major financial distress and thus agreed to sell their trademark to then little-known German company called Adidas for £600 and, very interestingly, 2 bottles of whiskey back in 1952. In the 1954 FIFA World Cup, the West German team beat the extremely dominant Hungarian team with the help of a revolutionary Adidas product. They invented screws in boots, in which a lightweight football boot was used to screw in further lightweight rubber studs. This made the boot almost half the weight of a traditional English football shoe. This victory by the German team made Adidas a household name in Germany and all across football circles throughout the world. Adidas in 1967 unveiled a tracksuit in honor of Franz Beckenbauer, the legendary German defender. This was a revelation and heralded a new dimension to the company, which was sports apparel and athletic wear. A new range of the products the company started working on, a diversion from the typical production of only sports shoes. When Adolf Dassler died in 1978, Adidas hit a little slump with respect to sales and profits when compared to other companies like Nike and fellow German brand Puma. After a brief period of leadership by his wife Kathy Dassler, Adolf's son Horst Dassler took over the reins of the company and tried to turn things around. On assuming control, Horst was immediately faced with the challenge of increasing competition for sports shoe wear. Nike Incorporated was eroding Adidas's market share in the United States and Japan. And Puma SE, a company founded by Horst's uncle after a dispute with his father, had increased its sales of athletic footwear by 35% the previous year. Horst responded to the challenge by installing a professional management team at company headquarters to replace family members. In the United States, where Adidas's sales had slipped to 1/3 of Nike's, Horst attempted to diversify distribution channels and respond to a shift in consumer demand from athletic to casual footwear, a shift that Adidas had failed to satisfy. After the premature death of Horst Dassler, the company was taken over by French business tycoon Bernard Tapie, thus ending the family administration over the company. Bernard was famous for taking companies from the brink of bankruptcy, an expertise on which he built his fortune. Bernard took production offshore and shifted his focus outside of Europe. He hired Madonna for promotion of the brand. In 1992, Bernard Tapie, unable to pay the interest from the loan he took to buy the company, assigned a bank to sell the company. There were few questions asked regarding the ethicality of the move, with rumors claiming that the chairman of the bank agreed to engage in this as a favor being owed to Tapie. There were also reports alleging that the state-owned French bank Crédit Lyonnais got Tapie out of this mess with the French government approval, as he was the Minister of Urban Affairs in the government at the time. Robert Louis Dreyfus, the new CEO, made an almost impossible job seem extremely possible. Together with his partner Christian Touré, he understood that the financially challenged Adidas did not need to be reinvented. It simply needed a new direction. He turned the sleeping giant from a sales to a market-driven company and steered Adidas back on the growth plane. In 1995, 6 years after becoming a corporation, Adidas went public, and its new marketing slogan could not sum it up better. We knew then, we know now. While the company was still dealing with financial challenges, a new marketing team refocused Adidas on what it has been known for years, making athletes better. Some of the most famous Adidas innovations, such as Torsion 1989, the Equipment Concept 1991, the Street Ball Campaign 1992, and the Predator Football Boot 1994 were born in this era. Robert Louis Dreyfus was also the chairman of the football club Olympique de Marseille, and Adidas sponsored their kits and training gear for an extended period of time thereafter. This provides a segue to my most favorite topic to talk about: football. Now, Adidas had a long history with football right from the initial times of Herzogenaurach Football Club right from the 1940s. This envisaged the long period of football association for the company. Their most famous association with football is evident in their partnership with FIFA, and especially the FIFA World Cup. This first began when Horst Dassler approached the then FIFA chairman, who believed that the association was not maximizing profits through World Cup. Horst convinced the chairman to obtain corporate sponsorships for not just the World Cup but all other FIFA events. Coca-Cola came aboard to sponsor the World Cup, and up until now, Adidas provides the official ball for the World Cup and is the kit sponsor for all FIFA referee kits. Adidas also holds a 9% share in German club Bayern Munich, which they acquired in 2002 for a price of 77 million euros. However, their saga with Bayern Munich goes back many years when Adidas started sponsoring the kits for them in 1974. Almost fittingly, Puma owns a 5% stake in Borussia Dortmund, bitter rivals of Bayern Munich, and also has a long-term sponsorship deal with them. Fast forward to 2001, Herbert Hainer took over the reins from Robert Dreyfus, who had a very successful spell at Adidas. Hainer brought about a lot of change, providing enough focus towards Adidas clothing, through which many popular fashion figures spearheaded this wing of the company. Adidas became the first in the industry to introduce a new lifestyle segment focusing on sports-inspired streetwear. In the years to come, new partnerships with Yohji Yamamoto 2002 and Stella McCartney 2004 was born. Additionally, Hainer brought about several iconic marketing and advertising campaigns featuring world-famous sports sensations. In one of its most memorable marketing campaigns, Adidas lets its biggest athletes, including David Beckham, Haile Gebrselassie, and Muhammad and Laila Ali, face their fears, defeats, and challenges, only to prove that indeed impossible is nothing. The slogan became the synonym for reaching one's goals. After the takeover of Reebok, Adidas made consistent inroads into Nike's market in the USA, collaborating not only with US sports personalities, but also with various pop stars, including Katy Perry. In the past decade, Adidas has moved their main office into a new campus in their founding city of Herzogenaurach, providing an authentic touch to this global brand. After 15 years of leading the company, Herbert Hainer passed the CEO baton to Kasper Roorsten. Herbert Hainer moved on to take a place in the Bayern Munich Supervisory Board. With over 1,000 stores around the world, the company has risen to extreme heights of success. It has been successful in creating influential marketing with advertising and other marketing tools. The fact is that Adidas not only has become the image of sports, fashion, and attitude, but has presented a unified image of sports, street, music, pop culture, and other fashion statements, creating its significant existence and sustaining themselves through the test of time. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories. If you enjoyed this video, consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons. It does wonders for the YouTube algorithm, so more people can see our videos and so that you can be notified when we launch our next video. We try and put out at least one new one per week, and as you can imagine, the research and editing alone of these type of videos takes us close to 18 hours. So we would really appreciate it if you could also check out our Patreon. For just $1 a month, you can support our work. We produce over 12 videos per month, so that is literally 8 cents per video. Thank you so much, and we'll see you at our next unmasking.